Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today we are looking at the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving Chronograph GMT Navy SEALs, 46 millimeters in 18 karat rose gold. You can see this 1 of 500 limited edition Chronograph GMT on our website, watchyouwant.com. Purchase it if you like, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now you can see on my wrist 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. The Diving Chronograph GMT is larger than life. Much like the reputation of the U.S. Navy SEALs, to which it pays tribute, this watch is immense. Now you can see 18 millimeters thick, so this one's barely going to clear a highway overpass, never mind a dress cuff. This is one for the pool, this is one for the beach, this is one for good times in short sleeves. And you can see that my wrist, again 16 centimeters in circumference, is about borderline for the 55 millimeter lug-to-lug measurement of this 46 millimeter round case. In terms of ergonomics, I can tell you it fits well, it's secure. I would have to take some links out of the bracelet, but the issue here is going to be whether you're into a watch this big with this much character, this much stance on the wrist, and frankly, this much gold. This is a loud and proud watch, and if that sounds like you, this could be a perfect match. I'll tell you that the feeling of the full rose gold case, and you can see how thick it is. It's not a shallow case, it doesn't have pared down lugs. It's a full figured gold case, and it feels every millimeter of it, is aided and abetted by a full gold bracelet. Now, it is a rubber wrapped rose gold bracelet. Some may ask why, but JLC's answer is value. Being that they used rose gold screws on the side and it's attached to a rose gold watch, they didn't want to cut costs and use steel or a titanium base metal under the rubber. So much like the Audemars Piguet rubber clad on the offshore line, where you have a rubber clad bezel that's gold underneath, this is a rubber clad bracelet that is gold underneath. Now it features an outstanding double deployant twin trigger deployant clasp that features twin dive extensions, and I'll show you how those work incrementally. First, let me fold it up and give you a sense of how JLC's bracelet works. It is one of the best in the business. Now you can see the metal graining is beautiful. Every feature and facet of it is finished, and you can see that great detail went into its craftsmanship. Notice this chamfer along the side, that slight angled facet that distinguishes between the sheer flanks and the flat of the hoods. That's the kind of attention to detail you get on this watch. Even though it is aggressive and sports inspired, it is nevertheless finished to the highest standard of the Valet de Joux and Jaeger-LeCoultre. Now there is another feature that hides in here. Rolex style, there's a tool-free micro adjust. Now you can see in here there is a little folding link that actually pivots about its axis and gives you about 2.5 millimeters on each side, tool-free. You don't have to unscrew the screw here. It just pulls in and it pulls out just like that. It's symmetrical on both sides, so if you want to add a little bit, a little more, or take a little off, you can do that without resorting to a jeweler or a tool. Beautifully finished inside and out. I should mention that there are several straps and bracelets that can be equipped on this watch. This is by far the Cadillac. The piece by itself, and it's only sold as a unit, end links, all links, and the clasp. But the piece by itself retails for almost $6,000. So that gives you the idea, that sort of puts the frame of reference into your mindset, gives you perspective on just how much value JLC sinks into manufacturing this bracelet. And of course, every link individually removable means that micro adjust aside, you can size this precisely. So you're talking about a watch with an original retail of over $30,000, $6,000 on the bracelet and clasp alone, but the case, the movement, the bezel, and the dial are the centerpieces here. Now the Master Compressor diving line actually existed from 2006 until 2009, when this limited edition and the Navy SEALs line in general was launched. This was one of 500 launched at the debut Salon International in Geneva in 2009 when JLC introduced the Navy SEALs watches. And given the amount of gold, the high profile, the complete impracticality of using this in any tactical scenario, I think it's best to look at it as a tribute watch rather than some sort of pseudo standard issue. This watch isn't attempting to pass itself off as tactical gear. Rather, it's a tribute to the history, the allure, the accomplishments, and the discipline of the U.S. Navy SEALs. And in that sense, it's a rich celebration of those warriors and what they represent. The bottom line is that the watch features a great deal of rugged, sports-oriented features, but not trying to be a Navy SEALs watch unless you look at the case back. And let me show you that beautiful U.S. Navy SEALs warfare device right there. It's not trying to be a co-branded watch from the front. It's just trying to be stylish and offer immense value. Now you can see the dial, dive style, compliant with ISO 6425 dive standards, established 1996. They formalized the definition of a dive watch. You can see all the indices, easily legible, broad trapeze hand, broad arrow on the minute hand. You can see unidirectional rotating dive bezel, this one with a ceramic insert featuring a luminescent pearl at the index at 12. There is a constant operation indicator, meaning this little rotating disc, which is bicolored, will continue rotating even if the chronograph is not in operation, so you always know if the watch is running before you take a dive. That is part of ISO 6425. It's present and correct here. Now the watch is water resistant down to 300 meters, so you've got plenty of hermeticity to take you down to any kind of recreational dive depth. But on the surface, this watch packs a few extra refinements. First and foremost, it is a dual time. I want to focus on that aspect because while chronographs are cool, more often than not, we find ourselves needing to use some sort of secondary time zone reference. Now you can see, as I adjust the time, all the hands move in sequence. You can see the little AM/PM indicator just above the cannon pinion. Watch it, it'll start to turn light as we move into the daylight hours. And that's because that is the AM/PM indicator for the second time zone. So the question becomes, where is the second time zone? Well, JLC gives you a discrete way of representing the second time zone on this watch. Let me see if I can find the detent. Now you can see how that second time zone, when you don't need it, can actually be hidden underneath the local time. And it allows you to have a stub hour hand that is actually coordinated with the AM/PM indicator just above the cannon pinion, and you'll see as I rotate through the course of the day how the AM/PM indicator is actually linked to that reference hour hand. So you always know in your reference time zone whether it's day or night. But of course, chronographs are all about chronograph action, and people want to see the chronograph action, and that is the second major complication here. You have the second time zone when you want it, you can hide it when you don't, but the ability to time both your dive using the unidirectional dive bezel as well as a secondary event using the chronograph adds to the versatility of this watch, below the sea or above. Now it features a triple register chronograph, and it is powered by JLC's own in-house caliber 757 chronograph movement, so you get a lot of value inside the watch. Now while it does have a solid case back, 18 karat rose gold, thick and heavy, individually numbered with the SEAL warfare device, underneath is JLC's 757. What does that give you? It gives you 45 joules, 304 parts, but more importantly, it's part of the first ever generation, the 750 series, of JLC in-house automatic winding chronograph movements. Launched in the early 2000s, it features everything you want in a sports watch. A long power reserve, 65 hours via twin barrels. Durability, it has a free-sprung balance. It has a hairspring that is actually laser welded at the stud and the collet, so its orientation cannot shift via shock. It has ceramic rotor bearings on the winding rotor to avoid the use of lubrication and future maintenance concerns, and of course unidirectional winding for increased efficiency and faster top-off of the 65-hour twin barrel power reserve. In modern fashion, it uses a vertical clutch to engage and disengage the chronograph functions, and in traditional fashion, it uses a column wheel to cycle the functions, such as the reset, so it's always very crisp in the hand. Now the vertical clutch does mean that if you like to have center seconds, you don't like to watch the constant function indicator, you can actually just leave the chronograph running, disregard the sub-registers, and consider this seconds hand to be your hours, minutes, and seconds civil time indicator. This watch features a lot: ceramic, gold, an in-house complicated chronograph movement with a second time zone. It is a 300-meter dive watch. It does feature JLC's signature 1/2 turn compressor crown. A single half turn and now it's unlocked. A single half turn and now you have 300 meters of water resistance. Much more practical than a screw down crown. It's also easier to use with wet, sweaty, or gloved hands. This is a watch that isn't necessarily SEAL equipment, and let's face it, with this much gold, I don't think you could claim that with a straight face. What it is a rich, beautifully built, outgoing, upbeat, and wonderfully feature-laden tribute to the U.S. Navy SEALs in a package that is quite literally the standard of the oversized sports watch class. This will go toe-to-toe with your Roger Dubuis, your Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore. The fit, the finish, and the manufacture quality of the movement is to that standard. You can see, and if you like, you can purchase this Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Compressor Diving Chronograph GMT U.S. Navy SEALs limited edition of 500 on our website, watchyouwant.com.